Hi everyone, I'm Daniel here again and trying to make another video of Civil 3D. This time I try to bring in some point clouds and do some work on the point cloud. We open again Civil 3D metric. This time I will use a different template because once couple of months ago I tried my drone and I got only one point cloud I made with that drone, which is in ITM coordinate system. So I have to use an ITM template. I show you it's very similar to the template I used earlier for the Facebook site. It's just the coordinate system is different. So I do again the template thing here. It's ECM ITM 12500. Okay, you can check here as last time with the drawing settings that if you don't have the ITM set, it's easily in the coordinate system zone. You select Ireland and it's an ITM transverse Mercator projection. So this time I will work backward, so I'm not filling up the survey database as last time. I will bring in a point cloud, I will make the drawing, and then after I can select from the drawing the data and I can fill up the database from the drawing. So this time what I need to do is insert data, and on the insert page in Civil 3D you can see there is a point cloud section here. So I just go to if you have the recap open, you can synchronize with the recap somehow. I never tried that actually, but you can attach a point cloud to the drawing. I have a point cloud folder, but I got a RCS file. That's a bridge. That's a test flight with my drone. So I got a small bridge, not so far where I'm living from. You see the preview here. This is a standard window, like you bring in a block or something. You can see. I would not recommend to insert a specific place because we want to keep the coordinates, so not scaling, not doing any transformation. And it's once we bring in, it will zoom to the point cloud, so that's a good one. You can set a relative path. That means if you have one folder on your computer and you have in the folder Civil 3D folder and the point cloud folder, and in the point cloud folder your point clouds, and you choose this one. Once you copy the main folder which contains your point cloud folder and the drawing folder, then the relative path will be stable. It won't be broke. So once you want to open this on another computer and you copy everything with the main folder, it will work. But I just like to just select no path. So just put the point cloud into the drawing, and this is it. It's already cleaned. I did use a recap for cleaning the point cloud, which you can see here. I rotate in 3D. It was actually, Greg. This was, I think, Greg's car. This was or ECC van. We just came out and we were standing here and we tested my little drone. That's just a test job. So once you select point cloud by clicking on the point cloud, you have to press probably S a couple of times. Yep, like that. You see it's jumping to the point cloud page, and you see different sections here what you can do with the point cloud. The first is just a viewing option, or you can actually increase the size of the dots, which not very useful, I think. The level of detail sometimes, but I would not reduce that either. If I would do something, maybe a little bit the transparency to make lower, maybe 10 or something. You can like if you see from this view, for example, that's a canal, a royal canal here. So that's a no perspective view here. It's orthogonal. If you want, you can see this in perspective with this button here. You see the difference. It's just more realistic. So that's nothing else. That's a true color point cloud. You can see it scan color. You can change that here. There is object color. Yeah, I have no objects. It's not even classified. I have a classification here, but you can do classification with Pix4D. That's a photogrammetry software I'm using with the drones. Or you can have classification with other softwares like probably RealWorks or something. That would mean if you classify a point cloud, the program sometimes automatically classifying that if it's a horizontal surface, that's most likely a road or something, or if it's very noisy, sometimes it's vegetation. So you can switch on and off those parts, so you don't have to manually cleaning things. It's not really a classified point cloud, so you can use elevation point cloud. Then even from top view you see which part of the point cloud is higher or lower. That's one thing you can use. And normal, well, a normal point cloud color, it's probably the intensity would be, but because it wasn't surveyed with a TX8 or SX10, which actually has an intensity. For point clouds, you know, it sends a laser, an electromagnetic wave, and it's coming back, and it's not only storing the point X, Y, Z. It's also storing an intensity, which means what was the reflected electromagnetic waves intensity. So different objects, different materials, different colors reflects energy back differently. So it's in this case, this was using stereo photogrammetry to creating point clouds. So there was no active light source or like a laser. It was just visible light coming through the photo lenses. So there is no real intensity. I go back to normal scan color for this time. That's the one I'm using. This next page here is a cropping tool. If you don't want to use every bit of point cloud, just for example today, let's say we do something with the road surface here, then you can select with a polygon or with a rectangle. I use polygon now to select what I want to keep. this one. And you can keep outside or you can keep inside. So I want to keep the inside one. During the work, if you wanted to disappear this point cloud or just switch off for a moment, you can all do that with the point cloud manager here. If you go to this little on and off button, yep, and let's see what's here. Yeah, you can if you have a selection, you can do invert of the unselected selected if you want to work on those. You have section planes here. Yeah, you can use section planes. Well, for section plane, it's not really for topo. You can use for topo, I guess. Actually, and I never really use. I think that's what it's doing. If I want an elevation or do some cross section drawing on the road. If you, for example, say for that I need to draw. I need an XY coordinate for that. I just switch off the snap on the point cloud with F4. You can toggle with F4, switching on and off. So you need to set something like that to have an XY plane where you can see this from top view, because I will show you later why. It's just make a UCS. I switch off this one ortho and just wanna F3 the snap on for this. And yeah, I got my plane now. So if you see, get top, then you see we got this front view. And if I want now, I'll just make it easier. You can go to the view and have a viewport, like a two vertical window next to each other. That will help you. That will help you to see what's going on. So I got once 3D view, and I got once this one. I select the point cloud and I want to do a section plane. I do a section plane bottom. Yep. And once you press ESC, it's unselect the point cloud. So you can select now the section plane, which will bring you to the section plane page. And I need to find not a plane, I need a slice. Yep. So now you see we got this section. I can actually delete this line, I don't need this anymore. Okay, just it's in my way. So go back to the my section plane, and this is a little bit thick. I can change that here. It's not what's it's here actually. If I want a slice like 100 millimeter maybe. You see it's much nicer now. And with the increment you can see in the 3D if I'm going forward or backward. It's slicing through the road. If you want, switch on and off, and then you can see how I'm moving this forward, and I switch this off, and then you can start drawing. If you turn on with the F4 the 3D snap-on, it will you can snap to the point cloud and make a line, draw a line. This is useful more if you want to do a floor plan or a building elevation or something, so you can use that for that probably more than for a topo. I don't think it's good for a topo anyway. So I can just delete now, I don't need this. And I also go back to the single view at the moment. So press ESC and select the point cloud again. Yes. So that was section plane. If we can extract data if well, probably that would be better with a proper point cloud, not with a drone, a stereophotogrammetry point cloud, because that's not so smooth. This is, and especially here for a topo, we don't have those smooth surfaces. These, I think, rather if you have a building scanned or something and it's picking up the edges where the intersection of two walls or corners, something. We already checked this one. And also you can create surface from point cloud. That's very important for us. You see I'm still in the top. If you want to go back, I didn't save this UCS, this coordinate system. I can go back to world, and then if I go to top, sorry, yes, then I go back to the original coordinate system. So what I really want to do now is I was saying, yeah, a surface, yes, remember. So with the surface you can create a surface for the whole point cloud, which I do not recommend, especially if you have a laptop. It takes a lot of time to generate, especially if you want a really detailful surface. What I would do, just do a surface where it's necessary, or if you do for the whole topo, you can probably just make the sampling a little bit bigger, so the thin model would be like every 200 mil or 300 mil, even half meter would be enough. So I can say, for example, create surface. You see with the yellow, it's automatically takes the whole scan at the beginning. I name it test 1. The style is ECC. That's just for contours and surface viewing settings, this kind of thing. You can select if you want to put this surface into the specific layer. If I think this is okay for us now. You go to next, not create surface, next. Then you see your point cloud is here. Well, I don't want to use the whole point cloud. Let's say this time I want to use a specific area of the point cloud. If you click on this, this automatically brings to the point cloud, and you can select which area you're interested in. You see here on the bottom you can have a polygon or a polyline. We don't have polyline. If you have a polyline on a survey extend, you can select that, and that will create a boundary that will select the point clouds you want to use for the surface. Or you just go with this, and then you can go. I switch off with the F3 the snap-on, and I don't have the F4 for 3D snap-on, so that's fine. I don't need snap-on for this. Just make a polyline around the road surface. It's up to you how much you want, how big area you want to involve this. Let's say we're only interested in the road. Now you see we have two yellow boundary. We have this small one and we have this big one. You see the selected points here, it's almost half the number. So I highlight the big one because I don't want to use it and delete, and I leave the small number, the smaller area, and I also don't want every millimeter and a half to have this detailed surface. So I'm just going in, and let's say I want 200 millimeter sampling on the surface, so 0.2 will do. And you see total number of points from the point cloud view is 7,000. That's also still a little bit high number. I might just do a little bit less. Yep, that's maybe it's better. So I'm going to create a surface now. Actually, not creating surface yet. Still, there is a next option here. If you go to the next page, you can select that you want a plane average. That's no good for us. There is a algorithm inside Civil3D, this middle settings, using that one. It will find objects not shouldn't be in the surface. So this is a clever one. And then when you select this, there is no more next option, just create a surface. And that will be running in the background. Well, we can do a few things until this creating this surface. Actually it's done, so yeah, it was quite quick now. You see the contours, so we have the surface. Yeah, we have a little problem here. Yes, because the point cloud we selected was including these points as well. In this case, if you go to Point Cloud Manager, just switch off this for a moment. We will switch on back later. Once you switch off the point cloud, you can select the point cloud again with the box around the point cloud. So if you click on this, you see it's jumping back to the point cloud page. So with the ESC you unselect, of course it's going back to the other pages. At the moment I need to select this one, and I want to see the triangulation on the surface, so I can edit a little bit because I'm not happy with this. I go to edit surface style, and just like last time, in model triangles, also I'm switching on the 2D plane view as well. Okay, so let's go back to, okay, that's pretty bad here. So we need to just delete these triangles, these ones here. So if I go to the prospector surface, you see test one surface, that's what we done here. Just go into that, and in the definition you see the edit option. That's where you can edit just specific points from the surface, or add if you want, or you can delete lines. I need to delete lines. Okay, now I have to select which lines. Well, definitely these ones. It's a bit funny with the selection, so I was confused first time a little bit, but it deleted. You just have to zoom out, in and out, and then it's deleting. So like if you press space, nothing happens. Once you zoom out, you see it's deleted, just it's not refreshing the screen. Of course, if there are some big noise, that's, for example, it can be something beside the road, a stone or something. If you're not happy, you just delete these things here. So you can let's say we are okay with this surface. Go back to top view. I switch this back on. Alright. And yeah, I don't need triangulation anymore, so just select the surface again. Yeah, if there is more things selected, you can go into the multiple selection windows. So just press ESC, just make sure there's nothing selected, and just select one thing. And then here you see the surface page, thin surface. I'll go back to surface style and switching off triangles. Okay, so we have the surface under the point cloud, and that's okay. Next thing, if we want to do points and lines, there is in the home page a point creation tools, and it's a lot of things you can do here. You can just manually make points. For example, if you switch on with the F4, the 3D snap-on, you see it's jumping on the points. It's actually, you can pick a point wherever you want on the scan point cloud. And let's say we want to give this one something like a wall. Enter point description, that's a WL. And because I had a snap-on on the point cloud, it get its elevation. So if you're happy with that elevation, just enter and you get that there. You can do this one as well here. I think it's actually not WL, it's only W. Yes, I was wrong. Yeah, you better know your codes anyway. But once you go to edit points, you can change that. Description W. And it should go back to wall. I can do it manually. Okay, so, or for example, you just want to randomly put some spot levels. You do the same. Go to first option is manual point creation. Just pick something somewhere, spot level, enter, and if you're happy with the elevation, enter again. You can do the same here, enter, enter. Or if you want, for example, a 10 meter by 10 meter grid or 5 meter by 5 meter grid on a with spot levels, so the topo map will look nice, then you can do that here with the other. There is a grid somewhere, automatic. On grid. A base point is always the left bottom corner. Let's say it's somewhere here. A rotation, well, I want a north, south, east, west axle, so I don't need rotation, so 0 is fine. Just press 0, grid rotation, enter. Spacing, oh yeah, that's a if you want on X, which is horizontal, 5 meter by 5 meter, then X will be 5 meter, of course, so press enter. And Y will be 5 meter too. You can change that here, of course, if you want a 10 meter by 10 meter grid. And now you have to give it the opposite corner, the upper right corner, which is, let's say it's here. Okay. And change the size or rotation, grid squares. No, thank you. And it wants a point description, so we need an spot level grid. Alright. And you can just keep enter, pressing enter. Unfortunately, it was just, there was no point, no surface. You need a surface for that, of course, and we got only a surface very narrow. That means our spot levels will be only on the middle here. If we have a bigger surface, of course, it would be a nice grid, but unfortunately there was only one point here. I could get a little bit of grid, so that wasn't a very good example, but you can see what I meant about this. Okay. Let's say if you want a line, there's two ways to do lines on the point cloud. Well, actually more. Sorry. You can do just simply 3D polyline. If you go and select, let's say, select a layer and say 3D polyline, 3D poly. And let's say if I can do something here. If you turn on snap-on for objects and turn off F4 snap-on on point cloud, then you can just connect it to there. Okay. So what we made here, that's just a 3D polyline, and you see that's not really good here. Just bringing up F4 somewhere here. This is better now. So that's just a 3D polyline. That's nothing. It won't be part of the service. It won't be a break line. It has no future. Nothing. Just an AutoCAD line. Well, what I would like to show you is rather a future line. Future line has way more it has a lot of benefits. It's a lot of options with future line. If I want to say I draw a level line, future line on the spot levels, there is a create future line option here. Yes, you have to do this manually in your template. So I show you here, create a new one. In your template you can fill up with future line styles, your future lines. So every one of future line has a name and a different layer. It can be dash line or anything you want. And give it a name, of course. I have mine, so I say, let's say I want a level line. Level line. You can name it if you want. Let's say level line, for example, name 1 or the date and 1, 2, 3, 4. Or if you want to name the future lines, I don't think it's always necessary. And you can put them in different layers, or you can just use default topo future layer for Civil 3D. With this one you can with a quick select you can select all the future lines and put them in one group. For example, if you combine point cloud extraction with a topo survey, somebody did topo survey, and you don't want to put these lines you're drawing on the point cloud to the same layer, then he's bringing in with the prefigure set, then you can just leave it in a different layer. Once you have the style selected, everything color dash solid line, that will be draw as you want. This is just the layer. I leave it in this layer now just for now. So let's say you selected what you want to draw. Okay, and again you see it's snap-on is active, so I just press F4 and only my objects snap-on active now, so I can just select a line. It's asking me about the elevation. Once you click, it's asking about the elevation. Because you selected a point, the snap-on was off on the point cloud, but you can double check, it's 78.756, so it's matching. Then you just press enter. Next point. No, it's giving you a grade. It's because it's future line and it's a Civil 3D program, is more used for road design and this kind of ditch or pipe design or this kind of things. It's giving you grade. It doesn't really matter. You just keep pressing enter. Once you snap on the point, it will be on the point definitely. Next one, it's giving you the grade again, and last one. And if you are ready, just a space and that's it. Now you see we have the line. We have the line on the points, not on the surface. You can make a line just on a 2D and project up to the surface as well. I show you that option as well. So you go to top view. I switch off snap-on and also no point cloud snap-on, and just creating a future line with no heights. So go back to future line, create future line. Also you can make a future line of 3D polyline as well. So that's an option as well if you want. If you want just draw lines with just typing in 3D polyline and at the end selecting each of them and turn them to future line, that's possible too. So now I want to do a road center line, for example. Okay, and I am just doing try to find the, I think that's the road center somewhere here. Here. It's asking me the elevation, I just say 0. 0. 0. 0. You press space or enter. They both work. And once you're done, space again and it's closing. So you have a future line now, but it's way below our surface. You see in 3D, it looks like this. We can actually stay in 3D view. So what we need to do now, select this line. It's jumping to future line page. You see there is a lot of cool stuff you can do with the future line. It's elevation editor, for example. It shows you on the line the measure points or the draw points and related with the other the distances or grades. It's 0 grade, of course, because everything on 0 elevation now, but we will change that. So with the future line, that's what I meant earlier, that you can do a lot of cool things, quick profile or do slopes or other things. What I need to do, project now, change the elevation of this line. You can do that here, elevation from surface. There are two options. If you leave this ticked in, that means every point on a surface breakpoint, it will project. So it will break this line to little segments and put them on the surface as smooth as possible. Well, I don't like that, to be honest. I don't really like that. So I just, even if you can do it in 2 steps. First step, I would definitely leave just the original breakpoints and just project the original breakpoints up to the surface. You have the surface selected here. That's right. So I just say OK. And you have to select again the future line. And space. It's there. What we have to do now, create some points, because we have the future line, why we don't have the points on the breakpoints. So we have to have like a nice point style and label where it breaks. So I just come here and let's say I want to create some points on the line. There is an option here. First column, on line, and you have to select now the line and give the point description. It's a center line, so I say it's a CL. And it's appeared here, and it automatically goes with the future line's direction to the next point and next point and next point. So just press enter and enter and enter until it's finishing. That's it. So now you see we got all our points. If you see in 3D, try to show you they're straight lines, so they're not 100% on the surface, but the breakpoints are on the surface. Just between the points, the lines, they are straight, But if you want, I show you, you can put this line 100% on the surface. Once you select the future line and go with this option and tick this box, it will insert intermediate grade breakpoints on this surface. You see? That's it. If these little dots and triangles at the points annoying me, you can switch them off. Alright. So we have this line perfectly on the surface. But it's not part of the surface, it's just on the surface. If for example you have a line you surveyed and that's 100% line, that's a corner of the building for example, and you have not that line, it's not on the point cloud, but you want the surface you create to be including with this line, then you just select the line, the future line, and then you can go here and give it to add to surface as break line with this one, and it will just press one, that doesn't matter, and it will be added to the surface now. So if you go to the surface and sorry, not here, surface style, you switch on triangles, then you see that the triangles, oops, I missed that, the triangles, now this line will be included in the triangles. Yeah, it's not so easy. You probably see that even here it's connected. That's how you can do that. Once I go back, just switch that off. Alright. So let's say, for example, you can make it other way around, like you can just put the points in first and just connect them with the future line. I do an example with that as well. So you want to point manually, let's say it's a road, so I'll go with the RD road. Yeah, and I didn't have the F4, so I need a snap-on to the point cloud. So again, if you see this, that's snap-on is on. Alright, it's a road RD with the elevation correct. I have the points there, just probably it's not turned on for model view, but if I go to the top view, they might just not even it's not the right code then probably. let's see, what's the point code for that, if I'm wrong. Or just I don't have the road point. Ah, yeah, that's correct. Okay. Oh, probably for the road I don't have a point. I didn't want. I probably use what can I use for point? Surface change. Yeah. I see. That's fine. Just to show you, I will use this one. Surface change. Sorry for that. That's working. There is a point for road as well. Just I don't have the style and the label, so it's hard to find after. I have to switch off probably the point cloud to find it. If you don't want to draw on the point cloud with the F4, sometimes it's jumping left and right. Sometimes if you have no dense point cloud, it's difficult to find the point on the point cloud where you want to put a point. You can do point on the surface as well. I saw it somewhere, definitely. Random points, create points within a surface. That's what I need probably. So I just want a point somewhere here. Perfect. Probably I know what's wrong. Probably there is no surface here, that's why it didn't work. So I leave this out and come here. There is surface here probably. That could happen. Yeah, so when there's nothing happening, you have to think about why it's not. Normally it should work. Should be a surface here, so yep. Just do one more here. Okay. So there were two different points now created. One directly attached to one point on the point cloud, and there were points made, not on the point, you see there's no point here, but on the surface. Sometimes when you have no dense area like here, you already have a thin surface under, then it's better to use these kind of points. And once you have the points done, you can just switch off F4, switch on F3 for snap-on. Also you can check the object snap settings. It's the dot, the node, that's what we need for the point. Of course I have endpoints and center, and you can you can customize that for your own style. And that's F3, that's object snap-on. We have for point cloud F4, so that's 2. So F3 is on now, and I go and create future line. Let's say there was a change surface, change, okay. F4 still on, okay, just F3 now. I'm happy with this elevation, yes. Okay. Yeah, there was no surface here. Somehow I couldn't make a point. Alright, and another space. No, this again not part of the surface. It's not on the surface, it's not on the point cloud, so we have just like once we go out and do our topo, we have just a normal straight line. It doesn't need to be like this one, doesn't need to be on this on the point cloud and on the fine surface, but the surface should should be part of this line, should be part of the surface, because that's a break line normally. So either you can select this line, not the point cloud, the line, and you can project the line to the surface if you want, or you can just make it part of the surface. You see what will happen. That's a quite a rough line for this fine surface, so it will change a lot now if I add this to the surface. Yeah, you see what happened. I'm not 100% sure why these things here. I will probably switch off this point cloud and check what's happened here. Switch on the triangulation. Delete surface line. Helped a little bit, yeah. Yes, and you see, because we made part of the surface, how we created with this one these long triangles, which are not very good to be honest. So once we have a really fine surface we can project like here the line to the surface. It's up to us, it's up to the job specification what we need. Of course this one is definitely bad because I couldn't create a point here because probably the surface there was no surface here, you see. So when I was trying to make a point here, there was no surface under the point. That's why I didn't create a point on the surface. So I have a long line here which is not correct because it's part of the surface, but it's not correct. Like you see this triangle here, this should be connected, but because of my 1 point here and 1 point here, I pulled this surface deep into the ground here. It's not how it's supposed to be. So once we would project this line to the surface, it would create a point up here, and this thin model would look completely different. I just wanted to show you what you can do. So it's not a full topo map. I'm not gonna do a full topo map here. Just an example what you can do, what's possible to do here. Go back and thin model off. You have to do both model and plan. Okay. Last time I forgot to show you, if you want to put some labels on your surface, you can select your surface and you can add labels for contours, for example, like that. Those boxes there won't be seen on the once you plot out these. Don't have to be worry about those. What else can I show you? Yeah, the same. I just switch back to point cloud for a second. I want to show you my tree, but I don't see the tree here, so just put the tree somewhere here. Let's say there was a tree here that with this point creation tool, manual, or you can use others, but for tree, for example, it doesn't really need to be in the surface. It's not part of the surface anyway. So I say I want to press F4, so I want to put a tree here. And you remember my tree was scalable object. So if I say that's a tree with a 3 meter diameter, then it will put a symbol there with a 3 meter of diameter. Switch off snap-on again. Just want to show you if that's a tree here. And with the analyze, you see if there is no snap-on, it will measure on the plane. F3 was on. Okay, no, there is no snap-on, definitely. And you see distance 3 meter here. That's the diameter of the tree. So you can it's just like when you measure on the field. The same thing happens here. Just you type the code on the point creation tool here. Enter point descriptions. The same thing you would do on the field. Let's say that's a tree space 2 meter, and elevation, let's say 0 because we don't know, then it's just there. It's of course it's on 0 elevation, but just for showing how it's working. Delete. Alright, I accidentally deleted the point cloud as well. It doesn't really matter now, we finished anyway. If you want with insert, you can always insert back. Same thing, select, open. Puts back everything where it was. So you don't have to worry about if you delete this, just telling you. And put the transparency back a little bit. Yes. That's how you can play a little bit with the point cloud in Civil 3D. Of course, there is a lot more you can do, but even I don't know. There's a lot of things you can do with Civil 3D. I never tried. There's only a few things I tried, and I hope it was useful for everybody. So thank you for your attention. See you next time. Bye.